Well, I think I'm fortunate and blessed. I have parents from Ghana and Nigeria. My mom is a Ghanaian. My dad is a Nigerian. So I was born in Ghana, but my life entirely has been in Nigeria. At a point in time, I had to go back to Ghana to for some bit of schooling too, but I came back here. I think I'm a proud Nigerian, and if you want to take it too, because the Ghanaian says they're on the mother side, so I could also be accepted as a Ghanaian, whichever way you want to look at it. But I'm a very proud African. Well, I think if you ask me, football wasn't the first thing on my mind. I played football on the streets like every other child. You know, at the point in time, it was like fun. Just playing football for the streets, the school, and all. You know, I was privileged to be training with the junior sharks of Port Harcourt. Fortunately, we had the late Monday Sinclair as our coach. At the point in time, the junior sharks team became so good that it metamorphosed into the ambassadors team. Which was like a second team to the Sharks FC then. Fortunately, I was still a student. Then we were all in secondary school, and we played football. I think they had this competition, Ramat Cup in '83, and I was enrolled to play because ambassadors, and the junior sharks, they were not enrolled to play in the Ramat Cup in River State. I was enrolled to play for one team, Ndele Youth, which belongs to one of the commissioners then in the then River State. I remember Ibiti Mangbare, was the person that was managing the team then, so they talked me into playing. I think I was an attacker actually. I played from the left side of the attack. We went for a game and I think their goalkeeper didn't come, so they were looking for who was going to be in goal. And somebody mentioned that I was very good as a goalkeeper too. Because in my school, we're not having, I attend the government C school, Isaka, we're not having very good goalkeepers. So I went into goal in that game and I just told them, look, I'm just going to play this game more. And I went and played and I was fantastic in that game. The game ended, we had to play shootout. I think I saved about 4 on that first game. We came into the quarterfinals of it. I think I saved another 4 penalties or so to qualify them for the semifinals. In the semifinals, I saved another 3. Then we went on to play the finals, and I think I, also saved about 3 penalties in the finals too. So that was how we qualified. Ndele Youth qualified to play Ramat Cup for River State. And within this period, I think my coach, Monday Sinclair, used to come and watch those games. So the next time I went for the Junior Sharks ambassadors training, when I wore my boots to go and play, he said, my friend, come on, go and dress as a goalkeeper. So that's my story, how I became a goalkeeper. And we went to Ramat Cup. As a little boy, my mind was so small that I didn't even understand and realize that the press carries stories about sports. So I sneaked out of school, went with them to Lagos to play the Ramat Cup. That was the first time I was traveling out without my parents, And I went there and I did so well in the competition. I was voted best youth goalkeeper of the year that year. And we came back to Port Harcourt. I went quietly, I sneaked back to school. So my dad invited me out back from the house. I never knew that he had bought the newspapers and I'd seen the stories. So when he invited me out, my name, Amapakabo, was a bit cumbersome, for most people to pronounce. So when they asked, I said, my name is Imama Amaps, so that it would be easy for everybody. And so when I came back, it was like, front page news, River State boy went to Lagos, won best youth goalkeeper of the year. And, so it was splashed all over. So When my dad invited me to come, I was wondering, why did this man invite me to come back to the house? So when I went back, he sat in his office and he was looking at me and said, where have you been of late? I said, I was quiet. And he was looking at me because one of the things my dad taught us not to do was to lie. You can't just look at my dad and lie. So when I started stammering and stuttering, he knew, I just didn't want to come out with all the truth. So he told me that I told you never ever to lie. I was quiet, Then I was ready to bolt out of his, because I was closer to the door. I was ready to bolt out of his office. Then he turned the newspaper and I saw Imama Maps, best youth goalkeeper of the year. Then he struck me. I think that was one of the turning points of my life, When my dad said, look, your name is Imama Amapakabo and not Imama Maps. And like he said, make sure that the world hears that this is your name and not Amaps. Amaps is the short form when people cannot pronounce. So I left the room and it was like, as I closed the door, I like celebrated, like somebody has scored a goal. And I went. And from there, before I knew it, I'd been invited to the Youth Fund national team. From the Youth Fund national team, I was invited to the academicals team, which later became the Golden Eaglet, which later became the Eaglets and the Golden Eaglets. I was privileged to have been in the team that won the first ever Under-16 World Cup for Nigeria in 1985. I came back and went, and I was also invited to the Under-21 national team. And so I think I am one of those very few people at my age. I can still say I can represent Rivers State in a sports festival because I never had the opportunity of playing for my state. I never represented the state in any sports festival. I was one of those privileged people to have from just street football straight to the national teams. And I think I count myself blessed. From there, from the junior national team, I played for Nepal Lagos in 87. I went to Jaibu Rocks in 88. From there, I went to Rovers of Calabar in 89. I played there till about 92, 93 season when I had to go back to Sharks of Port Harcourt. I played in Sharks of Port Harcourt from that 92, 93 season till about 97, 98 when I went to Kano Pillars. And at the point in time, the Nigerian football thing I got fed up with it and I said I wasn't going to play again. So I stopped playing in about 99, 2000. And I said I was going back to school. So I went back to school in Ghana. While I was school in Ghana, I think Kadri Kana was appointed head coach of Sharks Football Club in 2022. So I came back, wanting to prepare to also leave again to, I'd gotten admission, to further my studies in Northern Alberta University in Canada. And when I came back, he called me up and said, look, he has been looking for me and he wants me to become his assistant. So I was like, marveled, I said, why do you want me? I don't have any coaching certificate. And, well, why do you want me to come and become your assistant? He said, well, when he worked with me in Kano Pillars as a player, they were, my understanding of the game was so deep, and I could read through the games, and I told him a lot of things that helped him, within that period when he was coaching me and all. And he believed that I was going to do well as a coach. Wow, the offer was so flattering, Coaching wasn't something on my plate as at that point in time, And I remember going back to my family with it, my elder brothers, and look, my friend, look, if you choose this, our hands are off. This football that you've played for this long, you decided to leave it. Now your life is changing or whatever. Look, we are not going to get involved. Don't come back to us for nothing. The whole family was like, but, football was my passion. I loved the game, and I jumped at the offer. So I worked with Kadri from 2022 to about 2023. He left for Enyimba. I was thinking I was going to live with him. Unfortunately, he went to London. I was a bit heartbroken, but that's life and that's football for you. I stayed back and I had to work with late Amadou Chouaibou and the late Solomon Ogbede. May their souls rest in perfect peace. But these are all that prepared me, for the person I was to become. and I'm glad that, for their tutelage, and, I'm also glad that I had the privilege and the opportunity to be able to like sit at their feet and learn so very much from these masters of the game, I would say. And from there, I think at a point in time, Kadri came back to Sharks, and Sharks had a whole lot of issues, and they asked all of us to go. I think I was fortunate, to have been invited by Eyimba to come. I think at that time I came to Uyo, that was in 2012 or thereabout. I came to Uyo for an interview with the Aqua United team. Unfortunately, the job didn't come, but I was offered an assistant coaching position in Eyimba. I went there, and in that Eyimba, under Salisu Yusuf, as our head coach, myself, Mondo Digier, Zakari Baraji, and all, we worked for that period. And I think in 2014-15, Kadri came back to Eyimba, and we had to part ways too. I left, and barely 2 weeks after I left Eyimba, I had the opportunity, I had a call from the Rangers people that they were impressed with the job I've done with Eyimba. So I went and I worked with Eyimba, and I worked with Rangers from 2014. Then the present chairman of Abia Warriors now, Coach John Obu was head coach. I worked with him there in Rangers. After that time, they brought in late Chief Coach Kelechi Mitolo. May he still rest in perfect peace. I look at Chief Kelechi Mitolo as the icing of the cake, in my apprenticeship years as a coach, because he came and made me believe that, look, I should just have to stay in the things that I believe in, stay focused, work hard, and whatever, So I worked with him, and I took over from him. It was a struggle in that 2015 season for the Rangers team. We were almost relegated. As fate would have it, we survived the last day. And there was a lot of these controversies, giving me the job and not giving me the job. From there, the perception of, has he done well, he has not done well. So at the end of the day, I think I was given the opportunity to lead the team. To God's glory, we played some outstanding football in the 2016 season, won the league with Rangers, and I was fortunate to have been invited also to be part of the coaching crew of Super Eagles as at that point in time, which I worked there. And I think I'm privileged and honored to say that I am the first coach to have been head coach of the under-23 team and the home-based Super Eagles, and also the first assistant coach to the Super Eagles. And we worked there for a period of time. After a while, I left. I coached the academy in 2017 season. I coached Abia Warriors in the 2020-2021 seasons. I left, I went to Rwanda to coach Etoile de l'Est. I came back to Nigeria, and Abia Warriors wanted me back. I came back, and we were able to qualify as a third place team to play in the CAF Confed Cup, and here we are today. That's been my story. I think this is the first time I think anybody is hearing my story as elaborate as this.
So
I'll say this, Juliba FC, they've been serial qualifiers of the CAF competitions for their country. Abia Warriors is qualifying for the first time in its history. So when you look at it, historically, both teams, have different pedigrees. But, I think the big plus for Abia Warriors is that we have some players, and also myself, who have had the privilege of going into playing, continental football, which is also a plus. So there are two different teams coming in with two different qualifications. I think it's going to be an exciting game. We've been able to get some bit of information that we can't possibly get from them. We are, newbies, so to speak, in this continental, game. So we're going to approach it with our talents as individual persons that have been able to get there, going there with our experience, and also believe that our experiences we've been able to get collectively, it's going to help the team, propel the team into the next round. They are going to come as experienced in the competitions and all. So two different teams coming in with two different feelings. And it's going to be over 2 legs. It's not one that you say you win one game and you are through. Both of us, our expertise from different perspectives is going to come into play. So I think, I believe that they will also be able to get enough knowledge about our team the way we've also been able to get. But then come tomorrow, both teams are going to play the first leg. We'll be able to pull our hands and study our hands to go into the second leg. And I think it's going to be an exciting game for whoever it is that will be privileged to watch the games. Well, I am this person that believes that every game is different from the other game. No two games, I always say, are alike. And the mentality and the approach. It is only those pool stickers that will tell you in 1972 Manchester United won this, in 1962 they did this, and it is. I always say that your approach and your mentality to the game at all times is key. So history doesn't count. All my parents, in my lineage, everybody has failed. Nobody played football in my family, but Imama Amapakabo is a footballer in his family. So if you are putting that into perspective, then we don't even need to train to play against Joliba. But then that is history for you, and history to me only counts when you make it visible and possible. It's a game that we have to run. We have to run fastest. We have to jump highest. We have to dribble better. We have to defend better. We have to play collectively. We have to score goals and defend better for us to be able to get the results that we want. If we go to the pitch, like I always say, nobody comes to the pitch wearing a agbada or a suit. They sit outside. So we must come with respect for the team. Like I said, they're a team that has a pedigree. They've been serial qualifiers of this competition. We are just coming in. So we owe them that duty of respect to them, but we show no fear. We must show that, yes, we are Nigerian representatives. And the other thing I'm going to say in respect of this is this. Bridges have been crossing football. For time, you will say, look, Nigerian teams will just crush over everything. But if you go back to our national teams, we even start struggling to qualify. So I think when you fail to show people their due respect, it comes back to haunt you. Like I said, we must jump highest, run fastest, dribble better. It is only when you get off the pitch that you can carry your shoulders up, wear your agbada and your suit and say, look, I told you I'm the boss. But in 90 minutes, it has to be your mentality, your attitude, your focus, on the pitch that will give you results. Okay. Yes, we have a squad to present. Funny as it is, even if we have 18 injured players, you haven't got a choice but to play. We're representing Nigeria. So I think we have a big toga on our back. And we have the players, which we have registered. And every person, I think, should count himself lucky and blessed, to have this privilege. Like I told my players, most of you might not have the opportunity to play for the Super Eagles or the national team. But this is also an opportunity for you to have the bragging right to say, yes, I've been able to represent Nigeria. Because right now, Abia Warriors is representing Nigeria, and we carry the flag of Nigeria. So it is an opportunity for every person to stand up and be counted. Well, first of all, I think kudos to the organizers of the league, the LMC and all. But, in speaking generally in respect of Nigerian football, also, I think the biggest bane, that has bedeviled our football in the country is that of coaching education. Yes, a lot of coaching courses have been done here and there, but I think the acceptable coaching certification in Africa, or universally, accepted by everybody around the world, is the CAF courses. And when you look at it, no country succeeds without education of its people. I'll repeat myself for the umpteenth time. I think South Africa at a point in time, wouldn't stand Nigeria in any sphere of football. But at the point in time, they had to, limber down on their league and turn to coaching education as a serious thing. And when they came back, you can see that they've been able to bridge the gap between themselves and the North Africans, and we have lagged behind. The last time I think Nigeria did any major CAF course, not to talk about this other non-acceptable coaching certifications. It is like having education in Nigeria here, and you have courses that are not certified by universities. You know that you will not be able to get jobs. That's exactly what has happened to Nigerian football in the last decade or so. People like us, we've had, fortunately, we think I count ourselves blessed to have a bit of CVs. But what is coaching certification that most of us have? The CAF course, CAF coaching course B, from 2015 till now. So when the offers come for you to be able to take your trade outside, you can't take your trade outside. And I still say, boldly that not until the Federation, the Nigerian Football Federation, takes coaching education seriously, we will still be dancing in the doldrums and our football will still be where it is. I think that is the biggest challenge we need to conquer. We need to bring coaching education to the front burner to be able to help our football develop. I will repeat myself for the uptenth time too. No nation succeeds if you close down education for about a decade. I think it kills it completely. Imagine that Nigerian universities are shut for the next decade. You'll find that we are not going to make any kind of progression. I think that has been our biggest problem. In respect of the national team qualifications and all, I think what I've just said, encapsulates, it all. If we're able to get it right, let us come back. Sometimes, like I use this illustration all the time. The long jumpers, most times, they want to go forward, or the high jumpers, they step back. If we have to, accept the single fact that we have to shut down football, take it easy for maybe about a year or two. I think one of the presidents, was it President Goodluck Jonathan, at a point in time wanted to do something like that. I think, if I'm right, we should also look at it, and for us to make progress, we should take steps back, like the long jumpers or the high jumpers, so that we'll be able to get better leaps going forward. Football is profitable all over the world, so how come it's not that profitable in Nigeria? A big question I think all of us need to sit back and answer. And whenever anything is tied to the loyalty of government, then it becomes a problem. Let us look at where the movie and the music industry was a decade and a half, 2 decades back. For time, when they want to have events, they look for the footballers to come. But because football and sports is tied to the loyalty of government, now we look for the musicians, we look for the actors to come and patronize, to come and try to drive people to the stadium. So, because I think that the best thing that could happen to Nigerian football is when it goes, when it is privatized, because the longer we keep it in the hands of government, it will still be the same old song that we will be singing. Like I said, football is profit-driven. And if it is not looked at as, a business entity on its own and still looked at as a publicity arm, then it becomes a challenge, because that's exactly what's happening to most of the clubs now. When you look at it, we have about 70, 80, 85, 90% of the teams in the Premiership owned by state governments. But, you can look at people like the teams like Remo and some other individuals coming in. We hope they will be able to sustain it because of, the concept that I think that they have and whatever. And every time I go to the Remo place in Ikene, it excites me. Even today, when we were at the stadium in Uyo here, we talked about these things. The Uyo Stadium is one of arguably the best, and it's owned by the state government. So what happens to private individuals owning these projects like this? And when you look at the Uyo Stadium, it also has just one practice pitch. And the more you use it, the more the practice pitch dies. So I think we should be able to sell football and sports, to people for them to be able to come in so that they'll be able to make it serious business and not this PRO arms of government. Truth is, it is human nature is psychological. Most times, you're here. If they take you out of your house and you go and stay in the best hotel, you still want your home. To me, your home is more comfortable than the best hotel. It's psychological, And playing out of Umuahia, we are playing the Janjatik Stadium, awesome stadium, and the crowd there, no matter how much, it is difficult to feel, even when the Super Eagles play. And if you have the 12th man behind you, which is the crowd, it's always a big plus. But this is our home, our adopted home. This is Nigeria. Like I said, the players should understand that, yes, in as much as they represent Abia Warriors, they represent Nigeria. And this is Nigeria, this is our home. We just must give it our best and know that every person that is in the stadium is rooting for us to win, and be successful in both games so that we'll be able to have a good representation of Nigeria. I want to take Abia Warriors, first of all, to the group stage. I think it's my first line in sight, take them to the group stage. And from the group stage, we'll be able to look at, what possible next step that we can take. I think it's going to be a big achievement if we're able to push Abia Warriors to the group stage. Let us not forget that this is the first time they are representing Nigeria in the continent. Thank you for having me.
This is the Locker Room Central.
You're going to love it.